Welcome to the True Crime Storyteller. This video contains audio only. If you want to see images from the true crime stories, check out my Instagram account and tap the follow button to stay tuned. The van rolled through the wide open spaces of the American West, a white speck against a sea of red rock and vast skies. Inside, Gabrielle Gabby Petito leaned back in her seat, her blonde hair tangled in the wind as she smiled at her fiancé, Laundrie, who sat behind the wheel. To anyone looking from the outside, it was a scene straight from a postcard. They were young, in love, and living the dream that so many people could only imagine, traveling from one breathtaking national park to another, chasing sunsets and adventures. It was the summer of 2021, and the world had only just begun to open up after the long lockdowns of the pandemic. For Gaby, this trip was supposed to be a celebration of newfound freedom, a time to explore, create, and share her journey with her growing audience on social media. She had spent months meticulously planning their cross-country trip, charting a course through the grand landscapes of America's wild heartlands. Zion, Bryce Canyon, the towering peaks of Grand Teton. Each destination more awe-inspiring than the last. Their white Ford Transit van was their home, their safe space, and the vehicle of their dreams. But as the miles passed beneath their wheels, something else simmered beneath the surface. Something much darker and more dangerous than the public could ever have imagined. When Gaby posted her smiling photos and videos, her followers saw a young couple in love, adventuring across America with an ease that seemed almost ethereal. Her Instagram feed was a scrapbook of wide smiles, intimate moments by campfires, and serene landscapes. Van life, as it had become known on social media, was portrayed as the ultimate escape from the 9-to-5 grind. In every post, Gaby radiated joy, her love for nature, her love for Brian, her love for this lifestyle. But behind the lens of her camera, there were moments that she chose not to capture. Arguments that erupted over small frustrations, the heat of the desert, the stress of navigating long stretches of remote highways, and perhaps deeper unresolved tensions between the two of them. They had been together for 2 years, and in that time, the cracks in their relationship had slowly begun to show. Close friends described them as passionate, but sometimes volatile. Gaby was outgoing, warm, and expressive, while Brian could be moody, withdrawn, and prone to anger. Yet, she loved him deeply, and their bond, to her, was worth fighting for. But love, as beautiful as it can also be blind. And sometimes, the people closest to us hide their darkest sides until it's too late. The day was hot and dry, as the Ford van rumbled through the narrow streets of Moab, Utah. On August 12th, 2021, a passerby noticed something that seemed out of place. A heated argument between Gaby and Brian. The witness saw Gaby in tears, her voice strained with desperation, as Brian appeared agitated, grabbing her by the face. It wasn't the kind of argument people typically noticed. It was the kind that sent chills down your spine. The kind that made you wonder if something far more sinister was at play. The witness, uneasy and concerned for Gaby's safety, called the police. When the officers arrived, their body cams captured what would later become a haunting and telling moment. The footage, which was released weeks later, showed a tearful Gaby trying to explain the argument away, visibly shaken and emotionally fragile. "We've been fighting this morning," she sobbed. "He didn't really hit me, but he grabbed me." Brian, calm and collected, downplayed the situation. "It's been a rough morning. She's just stressed. You know how it is." The officers decided not to press charges. Instead, they separated the couple for the night. Brian was taken to a hotel, and Gaby stayed with the van. To them, it seemed like a typical lover's quarrel. No one knew in that moment that this was a crucial missed opportunity, a moment that, in hindsight, might have changed everything. As the night passed and the couple reunited the next morning, the tension between them didn't disappear. It simmered unseen beneath the surface. In the following days, Gaby continued to post pictures from their travels, photos of towering canyons and distant mountain peaks, her smile still bright but perhaps a little more forced. The cracks in their relationship widened, but from the outside, no one could tell. To her family, Gaby sent messages filled with excitement. She told them how she and Brian were planning to head towards Yellowstone, a place she had always wanted to visit. Then, on August 25th, 2021, the messages stopped. For days, Gaby's family tried to reach her. Calls went unanswered, texts went ignored. The social media updates, once frequent, came to a sudden halt. At first, they rationalized it. Perhaps they were in a remote area with no cell service. Or maybe they were simply too busy enjoying their adventure. But as the days stretched on, their concern grew into a gnawing fear. It wasn't until September 1st that a chilling truth began to unfold. Brian Laundrie returned to Florida in the white van, alone. Gaby was nowhere to be seen. He said nothing to Gaby's family. No explanation, no apology, not even a sign of concern. He simply returned to his parents' home, acting as if Gaby had never existed. It wasn't until Gaby's parents reported her missing on September 11th that the walls around Brian began to close in. Gaby's disappearance sparked a media frenzy. Her story spread across social media like wildfire, and soon, the entire country was gripped by the mystery. Thousands of internet users became amateur detectives, piecing together clues from her Instagram posts, analyzing her final moments. Every detail of their trip was scrutinized. Where had she been last seen? What could have happened between August 25th and September 1st, when Brian returned alone? Her parents, devastated and desperate, pleaded with Brian to speak. But Brian remained silent, refusing to cooperate with authorities or give any hint as to what had happened to Gaby. Instead, he vanished from public view, hiding inside his parents' home as the pressure mounted. The search for Gaby intensified, with authorities scouring vast areas of the American wilderness. But it was the discovery on September 19th that shattered any hope of a happy ending. In the remote reaches of Grand Teton National Park, in a secluded area known for its rugged beauty, investigators found a body. It was Gaby. The autopsy confirmed the worst. She had been strangled. The vibrant young woman who had set off on an adventure had met a brutal and violent end. The public outrage was immediate. The media descended upon the Laundrie home, where Brian's parents remained tight-lipped, offering no answers as to their son's whereabouts. Then, on September 14th, Brian disappeared. His parents claimed he had gone for a hike in the Carlton Reserve, a vast and treacherous swampland in Florida. Days passed, and still, there was no sign of him. The FBI launched a massive manhunt, combing through the dense, dangerous terrain of the reserve, using drones, scent-tracking dogs, and thermal imaging. Weeks stretched into months, and the case became a spectacle, a real-life mystery that the world couldn't look away from. People speculated about Brian's fate. Had he taken his own life? Was he hiding in the wilderness, evading capture? Or had he fled the country altogether? On October 20th, 2021, the search for Brian came to a grim conclusion. In a waterlogged area of the Carlton Reserve, authorities found a backpack and a notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie. Nearby, skeletal remains were discovered. After weeks of speculation, the forensic examination confirmed the remains belonged to Brian. His body was in a state of advanced decomposition, and with him, the notebook held the answers everyone had been searching for. Inside, Brian confessed to killing Gaby, claiming it had been a mercy killing, an explanation that offered no real solace or justice for Gaby's family. The story of Gabby Petito was over, but the impact of her tragic end continues to ripple through society. Her parents, heartbroken but determined, founded the Gabby Petito Foundation to raise awareness about domestic violence and abuse, hoping that Gaby's story would serve as a warning to others who might be trapped in toxic relationships. For millions of people who followed Gaby's story, her death was a sobering reminder of the dangers that can lurk behind the most idyllic facades. Her smiling photos now serve as a haunting symbol of how love can turn deadly, how the surface of perfection can hide unimaginable darkness. Gaby's story, beautiful, tragic, and heartbreaking, will be remembered not just for the way it ended, but for the light it continues to shine on the hidden horrors of abuse. The truth, concealed for so long behind a screen of social media posts and staged smiles, is now impossible to ignore. Thank you for listening and see you next time.